I'd like to obviously recap the event, talk about everything. You know, I have my thoughts, and my thoughts might be entirely different from yours. I kind of want to go across real quick. I wanted to start with maybe Andrew. Andrew, what were your overall thoughts from the event? And what I'm talking about is we had a pro futsal event this past Saturday, and it was the first time we had been able to play a real event with fans and people there. It's the first time we've done that in 364 days.
Yeah.
So because of the pandemic. Andrew, this being like your first event playing with one of the teams, what was kind of your experience like? What do you think of the entire thing?
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, I was looking forward to it all week. I was telling people about it. And just the fact that we were going back to an organized event with some fans. I was really looking forward to it. And then, also when we had the podcast and you let Austin and I know that we'd be, captaining those teams, that made it a little extra special. It also made me a little nervous, but like, oh shit, but reminding myself to just do what I always do, it's not like I'm actively like ever looking for a leadership position. I'm just trying to bring my best self, and to just, this should be no different, so yeah, it was exciting. It was good. Obviously we would have liked to, I played for the Washington Fire team, and we lost both games, but in the bigger picture, and I went over this with the guys on my team, was in the bigger picture, we didn't do too bad. Like our first game versus Impact, I think they beat us by 1 goal. And 2 of those goals came late in the game. Like it could have easily been, had we held on just defensively, like just for the last 3 minutes or something, could have easily been a tie or even a win for us, and then the second game against you guys, against the Kings, it was a much wider margin. I can't remember if you guys scored 14 or 15 and we scored 5. But I also said, look, the bigger picture is some of the guys on the Kings have been playing for 5 years together. And, many of us have played together, but we're newer to futsal. And so, of course, we want to be competitive and we want to win. But there's also a bigger picture, which is to get the fundamentals of futsal down and just enjoy it, find ways to enjoy this new experience, learn from it. So it was good. Like it was a real mix of like adrenaline rush, but at the same time, at the end of that event, I was dead tired, and I still had to drive like an hour and 20 minutes back home. And I got home at like 10 or something, and I was done. I was done for the day. So it was fulfilling.
Well, you guys played back to back too. And that's something that
we did.
Like another thing, like even the Impact, them playing their second game, they looked entirely different in terms of their just energy. And even us, like we had a game break in between even that second game. Mm-hmm. But in between games, I actually went over to Austin and the Impact, and I was like, you guys need to take more shots. I said, you guys did not take many shots whatsoever. Even going through the film, I'm like, they did not shoot the ball. Yeah. But Austin, how about you? Moving on to Austin.
It's very eye-opening each and every time we come out for these futsal events. It doesn't matter if it's the inter squad or if it's against the other teams as well, like going against like Eastern Shore or Washington or against the Kings, right? It's always going to be different styles but the thing that I love about it is that we're always going to mix up the squads. It's not always going to be the same people in the same squads that always get the same play style, right? It throws a wrench in there that makes you want to learn differently and learn each other's play styles to where it opens up the game more for everyone else. And it was really, I enjoyed it. Like our game against like you guys with the Kings, it was very frustrating in the first half where we gave up a lot of just simple goals that if we just would have tracked that one guy in the front and not allow that through pass, it was there, right? But I think statistically, when we broke it down in the second half, I think the score was only like 3-2 or 3-1. So the margin was a lot less. So, and it kind of like made us think like, okay, when we calm down and we actually start to play our game, because we also changed our system as well. I don't know if you noticed that in the film. So we actually broke it down into a square because a lot of the newer guys from Delaware, they weren't used to our diamond system. So it was kind of having them understand like, okay, you know, if you're here, just track that runner instead of having to play the diamond. And it kind of understood, it helped understand for the other players. So, and it helped us get our groove a little bit towards that second half. And especially we took that going into the game with the Washington Fire as well, because we had just finished with you guys and went right into the second game. And we came out, I mean, I think I had the first goal within like the first minute. And then it was like, we were just like, I think Frank had 2 or 3 goals. And I mean, he's just driving at him. So we definitely came out with the energy, but I think it kind of caught us at the end. Because like what Andrew was saying, we were on the back foot, like trying to hold them off because we were definitely feeling it after the second game. So
Frank has some potential. Frank's 17 years old.
I know that's what caught my eye, and I was like, okay, all right, because like I think I first met him in the Sunday sessions. He was coming out when we were over at Glen Burnie. I was like, okay, I remember you. And I remember like at first he was very, like, I mean, he's still kind of quiet. But he's very humble, like in the sense of like, okay, like if we tell him to learn this or like tell him to start guiding himself in this kind of position, he takes it quickly. You just have to like give him that mentorship. When it was nice because I had Adam that's played for years. I had Tommy that's played for years with you guys. I had Chris Roberts, and then I had Eduardo that played a Major League Futsal that had all that experience as well from the futsal perspective. We are very experienced as a team, but I think gelling together, I think, was our final issue.
Yeah, I definitely saw your team as the one of the more experienced between the Impact and Fire in terms of just guys that have been around for a while. And then I threw in some guys some Puerto Rican guys actually that I know, and then some guys from Delaware. But you guys had a good group. Obviously you had Tommy on that team too. Tommy had a nice little goal over there. I saw that.
That hurt. I'm getting old. I realized that after playing and having to rest my body for hours on Saturday. I'm not playing
well, just talking about Andrew, you said you came back not feeling well. All right, here's my thumb, right? And here's my ankle brace on my foot.
Boy.
So I rolled my ankle today coaching softball.
Not been our sport.
So I literally rolled my ankle and I heard 3 pops. And I'm literally like I want some ibuprofen right now, but I'm afraid of what it's gonna feel like in the morning. Or even the next few weeks. I'm probably gonna have to take it easy. But Tommy, obviously you've been around for a while, and Tommy's been to a lot of these events. Overall, Tommy, what would you say it looked like in terms of just everything, I guess, in general?
I mean, it was an enjoyment to see everybody out there, you know, getting to touch a ball with the group. That's so important in a team atmosphere. You know, we all know each other. For me, you know, I always, you know, enjoy playing against you guys. I think it makes everybody step up to know that they're playing a well-matched group of guys. And, you know, it's funny, you know, Austin said we had to change the way we played, and that was because I'm used to playing a diamond. Most other guys are, but, you know, when we had to start pressing a little bit, it had to change a little bit. And I think the biggest enjoyment I get out of these events is you see guys excel that maybe didn't excel in the beginning, and they put a lot of effort and a lot of work. And, you know, on the Washington Fire, Muhammad and his brother, those guys just, you know, they come out every Sunday morning, you know, they come to their first event and they impress me, you know, very smart on the ball. You know, you didn't see a lot of mistakes. I haven't watched all the film from, you know, the Washington game, but from what I watched, you know, seeing some of these guys, you know, learn the game of soccer, which is, you know, not hold the ball too long, know what you're going to do before you get the ball. It's a chess match, and I enjoy watching that. So it's really nice to see, you know, I think what futsal does to players.
Yeah.
So
It's funny because like I see both sides of everything from a playing perspective, and then I spend a lot of time watching video to the point where I've like memorized like dates of games and the way players play during which game, and there's a lot of I posted a highlight clip the other day of the first game, and I'm going to go through one game at a time and post each one. But the first game, there's a lot of good highlights that you look at and you're like, dang, like that's some high-level futsal. But what you don't see is I watched through so much awful futsal from the weekend that my eyes are like literally were bleeding. Like it was awful. I thought the event overall, I'm gonna be honest, I thought the talent and I thought the overall performance was the worst out of everything that we've played in so far. And I think when I say that, like you watch the video and you're like, oh, like there's some really good clips. But then I watch the video and I'm like, dang, I cannot post that in there. People are gonna see that and be like, wow, like those are some scrubs, just to be honest. like I'm like, like even some of the goals I'm putting in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did that happen, right? So like I guess like I see both sides of it because I see all the effort that puts leading up to it, and I see the performance on the field. But I honestly think overall, and I mean, there are obvious reasons for this not being the best level of play that I've seen, and it will get better. Like we are starting back from the ground floor, right? We are starting right back from it. A lot of these guys are so out of shape. I wasn't even in the best shape. A lot of guys on my team, a lot of guys on everyone here has said, I mean, Andrew says he's in the best shape of his life, one of the best shapes of his life. But I know from knowing Austin and Tommy for long enough, neither of you guys are in the best shape of your life right now. I'm not in the best shape, right? But like, there's just little things that drive me absolutely nuts when I watch the film over and over and over again, that people repeatedly receive the ball with the inside of their foot every single time and then get pressured and wonder why when they try to take a touch and it doesn't go where they want it to go. You're like, oh, I wonder why it didn't go there. I wonder why I got put under pressure. It's because you didn't take your first touch into space and play the simple pass. You tried playing a chip ball over top 5 times in a row, play the simple pass and get out. Like, honestly, at the end, like, I know that you guys weren't on my team, but I called a timeout and I just laid into them. And I was like, this is awful. I'm embarrassed. And we were winning the game by a lot, but it was just like, it wasn't even the score. It's about how you play the game. I don't care if we win or lose. I care about how we play and how we pass and how we move, how we receive the ball, how we open up players. Like I said, this is the ground floor. We're restarting, kicking everything off after being out for a year. There's a lot of guys that are out of shape. There's a lot of guys that are learning the sport of futsal. But I mentioned in my podcast with Safe the other day on Way Back Down that there are some people that do the same stupid stuff over and over and over and over again, where it's so frustrating to watch. So like, yes, it was awesome. I had a blast being out there. I didn't get home till late either. Stopped at Chick-fil-A on the way home and got a bunch of spicy chicken sandwiches and a 30-pack of nuggets. I devoured that stuff.
That's why you rolled your ankle.
Well, I didn't eat all 30. I saved some for my daughter who fell asleep. So I did eat some of them. But, like on the way, like I was exhausted. And a lot of that comes from playing. A lot of it comes from the mental exhaustion of having to like plan things and make sure everything's in the right spot and everyone's doing what they need to do. But there will be one day where I'm not playing anymore and I'm just sitting back watching, and I know there will be other players that are doing the same, that are right alongside me and helping build a platform to showcase other players. So with that, like I know I'm being critical right now of the quality. I think it could be a lot better. That's because I've seen a lot better. I've seen that level of where we're at. You can make all excuses in the world. You can say COVID, out of shape, small court, not the most quality players surrounding you by. But at the same point, I want to see each player get better each event. So if this is the ground floor, it was overall, like I said, you can take some great highlights from it. Do I think it was the best level of futsal in the United States? No, I don't. Do I think there are some really good players that played this weekend? Yes. Do I think that there are some players that impressed me? Of course. But most of all, will it improve each time? The answer is yes, or else you're out, right? If you show up late continuously over and over and over, or no call, no show, the day before, I got people calling me, people text me, hey, I can't come anymore because of something. I get last minute things, but if it's every single event over and over and over again, you're gone. There's a lot of good players that are reaching out now. They see, like, ever since I posted those highlights, there are a lot of players that reach out and they're like, hey, like, I want to play. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I don't just like throw up the video of the game. Like, I spent some time editing that film, you know, like and I want each time I put it out there, I want it to be a better product. So not just the video, but the way the players act, the way they perform on the court. I want that to improve every time. And I'm very critical of a lot of things of myself, you know, what are things that I could have done better on the court, off the court. There's a lot of things. As COVID restrictions start to lighten up and we start to be able to grow, as you see, like, you could fit more people in there, right? And, you know, as COVID lightens up, I would, hopefully it continues along that path. I'd love to play more there. You know, we're going to be there back in April. I'd love for there to be a bunch of people there watching as well in a safe environment. But I think the fans loved it. I think one of the coolest things to me was, like, you know, the Kings scored the first few goals. I think we went up like 6-7, scored 6 or 7 goals. And then the Impact scored. And it was the loudest goal celebration of the entire it actually surprised me, and I was like, okay, right? So then I was like, all right, play me. And I knew you guys, you mentioned that you guys were playing the 2-2. Gavin and I knew that. That's why Gavin kept on hanging out in the middle of the court and tried splitting. If you're playing a box, well, guess what? Guess who's sitting there pretty, just waiting for. And I said, Gavin, play me. And I rarely turn with the ball, but that one time I turned, I'm going to blast a shot. And I turned, blast a shot, scored maybe like 30 seconds after you guys scored your first goal. And I was like, yeah, that's right. You guys know who's boss here. What's that?
I was like, I watched it happen because I had just came off and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Josh, you did bring up something that I was thinking of as you were talking about the quality, and it's not as an excuse, but I promise there's a technical, tactical question that comes from this. But you mentioned the dimensions of the field, or well, court, right? And I don't know what they were or are at Queenstown, but they're slightly smaller from the Annapolis area Christian school that we usually play at. And so my question is, do tactics change at all, or does it just come down to, well, that's all the more reason that you need to have your futsal technical fundamentals down?
Oh yeah, the tactics, like, we discussed it all before the game. It was we need to utilize every single inch of that court, that we need to be receiving the ball. And even if you look through, like, when I check back in the back line, sometimes, like, I'm like this far away from the baseline, right? Like, that when I am, like, if I receive the ball and there's no one on me and I'm in the back, I usually cycle into the back so I can get it, pull out someone, right? And there was a time, and it's funny, and I think it was Austin that yelled it. If you watch the clip, I'm not sure if it was Austin or not, but I got the ball, no one stepped to me, and I backpedaled all the way back. I just hopped on the ball. Then I rolled it across the goal mouth slowly, waiting for him to step to me. And all the time, I knew I was going to Gavin back when I was on the whole other side of the court. I knew Gavin was over here, right? So what I was going to do was I was going to go over here, draw this guy with me, turn quick and play Gavin. And Gavin literally had like an entire court's worth of space because of that. And I think, I don't know whose voice it was. I'm pretty sure it was Austin. It might have been Tommy too. He goes, he wants you to do that. Like,
I listen.
Like, what's that?
This is awesome.
Yeah,
He'll do it.
I literally
He wants
kept
you to
telling him, I was
commit
like,
there.
don't chase. Do not chase. He's gonna play it over you.
And literally, like, I turn really quickly, so I'm rolling. I turn with boom, play it past to Gavin as hard as I can on the ground, and he literally has like all the space in the world. And one thing that I like about Gavin that he's developed just in the past year and a half, Gavin is able to, like, he didn't do this before. So he is, if you look at it, there's two moves that he does that opens up every single time for him. He either goes like, if he's on, imagine like he's shooting over here, he'll like be down here, right? And then go really slow, quick touch in and a shot with his right from there.
Yep.
But what he's developed a lot that makes him so much better now, he'll be like sidestepping with his like back to like this line right here, sidestep, pull the ball with his right foot down the line, take a left-footed shot. And he scored some goals off of that over the weekend. But like that's something that he just like recently I've seen him do a lot more of and develop. But you know, there's so many to answer your question, Andrew, yes, there are like different things tactically you're gonna have to do. Like defensively, you don't have to move as much in a smaller court. So I was able to save a lot of my energy that I would have been using defensively on a bigger court. I would have had to shift a lot more. But also we look to draw people out. And there are times where like I honestly think like when my line was on with Gavin and Shipley, like I worked really well with Gavin and Shipley, that when our line was on, there was some really good looking futsal that we were able to. I think there was one thing that I told Gavin, you know, there were certain times where Gavin would dribble towards me and kind of lay it off for me. And my first touch was into open court this way, and Gavin kept his run this way around. And then I would just play a slot ball to Gavin, and he took a bunch of shots like that. And, you know, there's little tiny ways to create separation that you need in a smaller court. You know, something that, but at the same time, like even though Annapolis area is bigger than Queenstown, even though it's bigger, Annapolis area is still a smaller court compared to a real regulation futsal court. So the last time we played, I think it was the last time we played back in March of last year, Austin's fire team beat us. We were beating them 5-0. And they were like committing high. And they said, you know, we're going to sit back, create our line of confrontation a little bit further back. And we weren't able to work around them because of the smaller court. But then what we did was, since we were up, we were sitting back a little bit more. And Austin, Vaughn, and AJ were just banging shots. And we gave them too much space. We weren't able to shift in time. And they came back and scored 5 goals and tied it 5-5. So, like, utilizing every inch of the court is so important. And I think a lot of people don't value the importance of taking a touch towards the middle of the court. They try advancing the ball forward. If you ever look, when you look at film of me, I never dribble the ball forward. I know that's my role. But when I take my first touch, if I'm on the side, let's say Brian rolls it out to me, my first touch is always towards, like, let's say the goal is here and I receive the ball over here, my first touch is always rolling out here. And when I play that pass across the court, you can't jog through, you have to sprint through. Because if you jog through slowly, that doesn't do anything. You're like, oh, he's just jogging through, just taking his time, I don't have to cover him. But making that hard run through makes someone decide whether or not they follow you. Because if they follow you, then now Gavin's on the ball here and they followed you in this corner, that just created room for someone to take a shot. If they don't follow you, all right, play me a ball down the line and I'm wide open. So I did realize that you guys offensively as well in the Eastern Shore game, you guys had 2 guys high in the second half, which was a problem for our diamond, where you guys were playing more there. It's just you didn't get that final piece and actually getting that shot off. You guys a lot of times had to play backwards and around again. So, you know, in all this, like I'm very critical because I want improvement. You know, if I were to come out and say that was a great event, like, yeah, there were a lot of things that were great about it, but in terms of performances, I think everyone could do a lot better. I think there are things that we just need to continue to like receive with your with your first touch into the open court, complete your pass and get out, right? And then knowing that it's really hard to develop a player that knows how to play the target position. So like you can't just throw anyone up there, because if you keep playing that ball up there and they lose it every time, you're going to stop. So like Andrew, I don't think your team had anyone that was really like great at playing that target position. I would say if there's anyone that would do well that were there on your team, it would probably be Larry, just because Larry has played the target forward for me at the high school level. I coached him. So he knows a little bit about my movements, and he's played center back too. So he knows like what kind of movements a target forward would have. But like in futsal, when you're a target, if you're looking at me, like if I'm guarding someone, if someone's guarding me, I literally try to just isolate them. The problem is like if they try stepping around, then I'm going to turn. If they just sit there and the person who plays me the ball, let's say like Gavin gets the ball in the back and he's dancing on it and then plays that split ball to me, most of the time I'm going to hold it up and lay it off to him. And, you know, Gavin's already quick, but if you don't run with your runner, that's a wide open shot all the time. And we ran set plays as well from corners where we just set screens and took shots. And I think we scored a bunch of goals off set plays. We ran the same play over and over and over and over and over again. And at halftime, I was like, guys, we ran that play like 15 times. Like, we can't run anymore. And Gavin was like, what do you mean? We scored 4 goals off of it. and I was like, all right. He's like, well, if someone's open in the middle, play the person in the middle. But you know, a lot of it's so different from soccer. And one thing I talked to Gavin about, something that we're going to start up, is it's going to start off with me and Gavin, but we're going to invite almost everyone on, if they're free, onto Zoom calls, and we watch through the film, and Gavin and I start breaking it down and accept questions and being like, hey, like, where did this come from? Why is that? Because I know there's a lot of guys that want to learn, and there's a lot of guys that are good and need to get better as well, and also have maybe their input. Well, here's why I did that, right? I think everyone can, hey, you know what? Yeah, I messed up there. In the last game, I rolled the ball and I saw Gavin on my left. I rolled it and I just like toe poked it over to him very casually. And in that amount of time, like I took my eye, we were up by like 10 goals and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna, and I played one stupid pass, intercepted, goal. And I was like, that was a dumb mistake. I'm literally sitting here yelling at people about dumb mistakes, and I just made a stupid mistake. So, you know, with that, yeah, I do believe there's a tactical side to it that we're just going to continue to improve on. You know, I think going to the next event, there's going to be some changes in terms of personnel too. Some people on the roster that will be changing in terms of availability. Some people are coming back. They're going to be available that weren't available at the first event. There's also guys that are reaching out. I'm going to start inviting this Sunday mornings, and they come consistently, then I'm going to add them. So with that, you know, I know you guys, I appreciate your guys' help in helping just captain each team and organize it even more. But also there's some responsibility on you guys in terms of just continuing to learn and disseminate this information and send it out to people and let them know things that you've learned. Just from watching not only our games, but also other futsal. You know, if you're watching professional leagues in Spain or in Europe, they have highlights of all these games on YouTube. You can watch full-length games and just see the way they play. It's so different. And they know they have bigger courts, but these little things can be a huge difference in these games. It gets to a point where when we're playing these events, we don't know who's even going to win each game and who's going to be the best team there, right? I think the last event, it was clear who was performing really well. But beyond that, you know, when last year Austin, like I think that was the pinnacle of like kind of like realizing that like, hey, like these teams are pretty even. Like there's a lot of good players out here, was when you guys stepped up and beat us after we were beating you 5-0 in a game that you guys, or we should have put away. For you to come back and score 5 goals, it's like, all right, there's something with this. The game should be close. I love the second game was a good game. You know, I think that proves a lot. I know you guys were a little bit more tired, but yeah, going forward, what would you guys like to see as well in terms of just changes, what would you guys, like if you were to say, all right, if you're the boss here and you could make any changes or add anything to what we currently have, what would you change? What would you do? I'll open up to anyone that wants to talk on.
That's a good question. Give me a second.
I'm right there with you, Tommy.
As if I'm going to listen in a constructive way. Not one where
It's all constructive, right? This is built on
as I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you know what? Well, see ya.
I mean,
I love being able to like listen, and like if you look, like the people that I have pretty close to me are the people that probably like complain the most in terms of like someone like Gavin. Like I won't say it's complaining, but it's like I know he wants better and he wants to hold you guys to a high standard and hold our group. And we literally we have like page long like text messages that we're texting back and forth after the game and just being like, this needs to change, this needs to change. And I listen and we make changes, and I consult with him in those decisions that we make. So, you know, I thought it was cool being able to have some fans there. I thought it was a good amount. It wasn't, I felt like it wasn't overwhelming. In terms of players, like I said, like I want to bring in some better guys. I want to continue to attract better talent.
I think one thing that might benefit us in the long run, as far as the group as a whole, is probably breaking down not only the Sunday sessions, but also like going to a court and explaining for all the new people, like, hey, you know, if you are new to futsal, this is kind of like our play style. This is how we want to function. This is where we would like the runs to be made. And this is how we need you to trap the ball, and not just, oh, okay, I'm playing outdoor inside of the foot, or okay, let me just do this and just try and take on 3 people. Like in futsal, you very, very rarely see. Like I kind of been listening to Gavin and watching the launch of the Levante that's playing futsal over there in Spain. The simple fundamentals is what they've mastered. Every time they lose the ball, everybody's behind the ball defending. Like it's not a matter of the forward is staying up top. It's a matter of everyone's getting back behind the ball and defending as a unit and then transitioning out. So I kind of feel like that might benefit us in the long run as far as breaking down the simplest of the tactics.
Yeah, I think those sessions that Gavin and I run, the Zoom sessions, are going to be good and helpful on that. You know, I think one thing that we've done in the past that I'm going to do for the next event too is the Saturday before, going to a court and having a run through of everything for everyone that can make it. Obviously not everybody would be able to make it, but for the people that can, just running through. But those tactical sessions through Zoom are going to be really important, of just watching that film, walking through certain things, different topics that maybe aren't even thought about until game day. And the more you can continue to work through that, the better. You know, in a perfect environment, we'd be training every day. We'd all be making $500,000, and this would be our job, you know. But you know, not necessarily quite at that point, nor will we ever. But you know, I think it is important. I agree. Just reinforcing these concepts, and something that we've talked a lot about. Gavin and I have talked a lot about just educating. But here's a problem. There are people that have been with us for 4 years, 5 years that are still doing the same stupid stuff. So like, at what point are you like, all right, peace out, we're moving on to someone else? Yeah. But like, it's you know, I explained in my podcast with Safe the other day, like I used to bring people over to my house, players. I used to bring them to my house. We used to play Hearts, the card game. You guys ever play Hearts before? Hearts or Spades. And even if you've never played before, I try to teach you. And I'll go through, and a lot of times you learn from just doing it. And these are adults, right? So they'll come in, and the first time I brought Safe in, he was asking a ton of questions. He was getting things wrong, but like I would explain each time, and he would learn from his mistakes. But most people that I would invite, they would do the same stupid stuff over and over and over and over. And I tell them, and they still doing it over, and they never learn from their mistakes. This is the point where literally, like, at times I literally just put the cards down. I'm going to bed. You guys can leave if you want. I'm going to bed. And I would literally have people over my house and be like, all right, see you. Like, because it would be like, you get down the final card, and I'll be like, wait, how come you only have one card? Oh, whoops, I got one on the floor. And I threw my cards, and I was like, all right, I'm done. So like, or like in hearts, it's like, do you have any clubs left? Do you have any clubs? And they'd be like, no. Okay, well then throw a heart. And they throw a heart, and then the last card of their hand, they throw down a club. I'm like, you say you didn't have a club. Oh wait, that's a club. But here, what I'm trying to say is that, like, if there are people that just do the same stupid stuff over and over, and they don't learn from their mistakes. And obviously, there's an educating point where you one step in and you want to help, but at some point you gotta be like, dude, like, I can't work with you anymore. Like, I gotta move on and move on to someone else that learns from their mistakes. At what point do you accept responsibility and realize that you need to do these things? So yeah, we'll go through these film sessions. Hopefully they're helpful. I can grow this. I want to
there's another element to, like, really mastering something, though. I mean, educating is a part of it, but another part is repetition, you know.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I know we're branded as like a soccer and futsal club, but our practices for all, you know, we have the occasional clinic like we did, I think it was late January, where we practiced futsal on the tennis court. But for example, if our focus throughout the first half of 2021 or all of 2021 is to have a futsal match each month, it would be good for us to practice futsal, like to implement that education more often.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Let's go up to the courts and go play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally, like, that's how I feel. I know that there's a lot of guys that want to do both. I know there's a lot of soccer players playing futsal. I consider myself a futsal player that plays soccer, right? I think for all you guys, I think for the most part, you guys are soccer players that play futsal. I consider, like, there are, like, guys who futsal is their thing. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a part of just doing that over and over and over and repeating it and getting that repetition in.
Yeah. And that's not to say that people can't, because people can take own individual responsibility, like outside of Baltimore Kings practices, to, like, you know, go work on it.
I mean, I think Tommy's the best definition of that. I mean, we all know Tommy's story. Tommy's had some rough history with injuries and stuff like that.
I don't think I played futsal until we did the Crown event. I think, what was the Crown event? I think 3 years, 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I hadn't played futsal since I probably played, you know, drop in somewhere locally, but at a high level. I think the last time we went down was I was in college. We took a couple of college guys and went down and played in Richmond, and that was almost 10 years ago. So from the first time we did the Crown event, to understand, like, you come out and, you know, you take it seriously. You know, you're out there touching a ball, and if you don't learn from your mistakes, then I'm a kind of a believer in, you want to change your mistakes and learn from them. So the next couple of events, I finally beat the Kings. I think with Pittsburgh, the last event that we did before COVID. But it just shows you that, you know, you build up to something and you consistently do it, and you consistently work towards your goal. It does help. It helps tremendously. Confidence, consistency. Keep going down the list.
Yeah, like, if you're not willing to put in the extra time to learn these fundamentals and make yourself that much better for the club, at the end of the day, the club can't make you better, right? Like, they can't make you. You have to make yourself better.
Yeah, it's all what you put into it and what you want to get out of it, you know?
Exactly.
You learn from the guys around you.
I think a lot of it is going to get better just with time. I think we were on the right track before COVID, and I think COVID kind of dropped things down, dropped the level naturally. But, you know, I want to continue to grow this. This weekend, we got teams from Dallas, Houston, and Miami playing that are going to be meeting in Houston and playing their own event with the 3 teams. So they're all traveling to Houston this weekend, and they're going to play. And have little pods like that around the United States would be awesome. So here's the first time I mentioned this. This is a breaking news. I want this summer, the first or second week of August, I want to travel down to Dallas with a group and to maybe do a 15-passenger van. I'm not sure. And
I just got
drive
PTSD.
on through. This would be cool. Check this out. Drive on through. It's around 12 hours to Nashville. Find someone to play in Nashville. So it'd be marketed as like a vacation, right? A little vacation. Whoever wants to come, like, tell me, like, I'll post it on HeyJow. The first 12 people that want to come, we're in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drive, find a team in Nashville. We'll go out in Dallas. We'll play the team in Dallas. Go out, hang out in Dallas. Enjoy it, and then head on back. And that would probably be, if I'm being honest, it'd probably be you're leaving early in the morning on a Thursday, right? Probably playing that night in Nashville, driving the rest of the way to Dallas throughout the night, getting to Dallas, hanging out throughout the day, right? Maybe playing 2 games, maybe playing that Saturday and Sunday, and then driving back Sunday night through Monday, but being like a Thursday to Monday trip. That's kind of what I'm thinking, like an extended weekend trip to Dallas. My dad lives in Dallas. He makes a bunch of really good Puerto Rican food. We can hang out. We can go downtown in Dallas and see what's out there. Like I said, in August, hopefully COVID's going well. People can travel and do all this. Like, I'm going to put it out there and see who wants to come. It's either going to be the first or second week of August before we go back to school. I would love to do something like that. So I know we went to Phoenix a couple years ago, but this kind of be like a better version of the Phoenix trip. Yeah.
It's half the travel.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it's probably half the travel. We stopped halfway at my dad's house in Dallas.
we played the kids at the school. That was awesome. That's right.
So while we were in Dallas, so we were driving through to Phoenix, just to give you guys, we were driving for the national championships in Phoenix. So we had a 15-passenger van. We packed it full of people, and Scott's the only one that got the easy ride. Scott flew out, right? Scott, right? So we ended up driving all the way out, and I was like, we could take an hour-and-a-half detour and go visit my dad in Dallas. And they have a place, like, my dad has a really nice, huge house. And we were like, sure, let's do it. So we stopped there. They made us dinner, loved it. My dad was like, oh, check out, they got this field across the road. Maybe you guys can like go and like check it out. And we walked over there, and there were like a bunch of like high school age kids, like 11 or 12 high school age kids, like kicking the ball around, playing like a World Cup or something. And we were all wearing our travel gear, all had our like Pro Soccer Alliance gear on. Like, let's go over. And we walked over, and I think my dad was like, oh, you guys should play each other. Next thing you knew, we're playing against all these high school kids, right? And this guy who's there, he goes, wait, you guys are the Baltimore Kings? And he pulls up and he like follows us on like Twitter and Instagram and everything like that. He's like, I saw you guys were driving out through Phoenix. It's so crazy that you're here right now. So it was just kind of funny that someone randomly playing at a field in Dallas knew who we were. And like, we took like a big like group picture afterwards. And some of those guys still reach out every once in a while and say hi. But it would be cool to head out to Dallas, play that team in Dallas. Maybe some of the other teams even come up. We have a nice little weekend tournament, right? Get a good group of 15 guys or so. Maybe we have enough for 2 teams. I don't know what we end up doing, but take 15-passenger van. If we get 8 guys that want to go, then we'll do it. Drive on out there, play, and come back. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'd like to opt for the first week of August. That's the birthday week. I got to celebrate it in style.
Yeah. I'm up for that Puerto Rican food. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
But it's a 48-hour rule. Don't let Josh's dad talk you into any beer.
Here's the thing. So we'll play the game, and then we'll go out to Dallas.
Yes.
We'll have like, what I'll do is I'll schedule kickoff around like 4, so you get done around like 5:30. Go shower, 6, 7, eat, right, and then you got the whole night to go.
Yeah, and then hydrate with
So So yeah, I think that'd be a cool trip. I'm just announcing that now, and I'm going to be reaching out and planning it. I told my dad, I was like, yeah, so what are you doing the first week of August, second week of August? And he was like, I don't know why. I was like, well, might be seeing me. So, get an Airbnb out there and just have fun, enjoy the time, and after COVID and everything is hopefully by the end of summer is starting to be at an all-time low, and we're able to start getting back to normal and doing things. But I'm gonna do this after show. Anything else? Any topics?
I'm curious, what are the teams that are playing this weekend? Like from what cities they are they?
Dallas, Houston, and Miami. The team from Miami is driving out to Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're actually reaching out about Airbnbs and like what like looking out. I was in a group conversation with them, and I'd love to get some of those guys on here too. But yeah, it would be cool.
I think so. I've had I coach a couple kids over from Glen Burnie High School, and they're still high schoolers. But so it's a mix between male and females. They're wanting to know for the female team that we're starting to kick back up, what's the requirements for their age?
They're a good player. They're a good player.
Okay.
Tell them to reach out to Chloe. We need girls. I think Chloe and I have been trying to spark this for a while. And if you know of any women's players, anyone out there is listening, if you know any women's players, we need women's players right now. I think COVID, we've taken a bigger hit from women's players than we have with the men. We've always had a bigger men's player pool, but you guys haven't been out to Sunday morning sessions recently, but we had Chloe and actually another girl came out the other day. Her name's Anna. So having a few players, we're going to start having them come out to Sunday mornings and eventually be able to split off and have their own group going at the same time. That would be awesome. But, talented women's players, if they're high-level high school, college, used to play women's league, and are a good player, we'd love to. The ultimate goal in all this is to have, 4 teams playing at home events and having the women's team play too at the event. It would be awesome to continue to grow this. On this past Monday night, the U16, I think it's U16, U17 boys, pretty sure it's U16, boys Kings team that like won state cup and regionals and all that. They just started practicing because they're probably going to put a team in for nationals. I went out to the practice with Gavin, and there's some guys that were playing that are better than our guys. And the first thing that Gavin mentioned was like, we need to bring, he named 2 names. We need to bring these 2 people to the next event. And I said, agreed. And they're high schoolers that are good players. And we can sign them to an academy contract and have them come play. That'd be awesome. So with that, I'm always, if there's a talented player, I'm looking to bring them out. If they're committed and they want to grow as a player and they want to learn and not act like they know everything, then let's do it. But I think it's really cool. And like I said, I want to grow this. I want to continue to grow. And the way it grows is by getting better players. It's all about the players. This entire thing is structured around the players. But yeah. Anything else?
I'm good.
What are you guys doing this weekend?
Oh, so I'm traveling to Ocean City for the futsal tournament with Gavin and a few of the other guys.
Is it futsal or is it indoor soccer?
So
it's indoor soccer, Austin. It's the St. Patty's Day.
Okay, so it's misleading. It's misleading because looking at the court, it is a futsal court.
It's like a hard court with walls, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's very weird because they also have 2 different courts. There's one, I think there's a large court and a small court, but I think Matt was saying that one of them doesn't have walls, and I was like, oh. So it's like a completely different play style.
What about the ball?
The ball is a regular soccer ball, so yeah, I guess
it's gonna bounce all over the place. Imagine playing futsal on a hard basketball court with a soccer ball.
Oh my God, the ball would be hitting the scoreboard time for me.
I mean, I know obviously some of you guys are going up there. I wish you guys luck. I always get asked every year to go play, and it's just always at a bad time.
Well, so Chris Roberts actually has a team as well. So
Nice.
there'd be a lot of friendly faces out there as well. So I told Chris I have to get it with him when we all get out there.
I mean, that's the thing I love about this game. Like, the people that you meet, you're always going to know someone somewhere when you play against them, whether you're on the same court playing with each other or playing against each other. It's crazy how it all works, you know. But yeah, hope you guys do well with that. Andrew, how about you? Will you be on you'll be there on Sunday?
Will I be there? Yeah, I should be.
Sunday.
I don't know if I reserved yet.
The podcast is going to hold you to that now.
No, I have to go.
You're going to have people hitting up Josh. Hey, did Andrew actually show up for that session?
Yeah. Now I'm committed. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
For those of you guys that were complaining about the audio from last time, I turned it up to 500% accidentally because I was in a rush, and that's why the audio was awful. So yeah, hopefully that will be not the case this time. All right, guys, have a good night. I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Yeah.
See you guys. See you on Sunday.
Bye, guys.